So today we're going to talk about releasing your negative emotions and why it's really important for a long-lasting, blissful relationship.
Yeah, we've been married 30 years, going on 30 years now, and without doing a lot of personal work to overcome negative emotions, we would have never made it. Most couples will not make it because they drag it into the relationship after they go through the romance um, portion of the relationship. They get into the power struggle. And so we want to give you some tips about how you can come into relationships, show up authentically, and really when you meet the person that's going to be the love of your life, you guys are really going to bomb-proof this relationship that you're going to have. And because you're going to have a lifetime together and things will come up. And usually a lot of the things that come up are based upon emotions, negative emotions that you brought into the relationship. So we're going to talk about that. So Freddie, talk about negative emotions and how we overcame that.
And I also want to make it clear that you're never done, that we still to this day continue on working on ourselves individually and together to become even more open and free and vulnerable. Like right now, I belong to 3 different women's groups. And of those women's groups, we help each other heal. We're constantly healing because life changes and new stuff comes up. And as you age, all these different issues, your kids grow up, you have parents that are old and dying. There's just so many different things. So when I went through my 3rd divorce and I was just devastated and thought, I'm not lovable, nobody's ever going to love me, what's the matter with me? So I went to moved to a place that I call spiritual boot camp, and they have all kinds of different therapies. I had psychotherapy, which is definitely important to have, and that's really where you get the basis of what are you bringing forward from your childhood is really what it was. Because my illusion was that I had this totally happy childhood, and then I went to psychotherapy and I went, oh, well, maybe it wasn't totally happy. Maybe I do have a few little issues I brought over since I've been divorced 3 times.
Right.
So then with the psychotherapy, that takes you so far. And even my therapist said, I'm pretty much done now, so you need to go seek therapy elsewhere. And I was lucky because I belonged to a bunch of different groups of where I lived. And one of the things we did was, I know this sounds crazy, but we did primal scream therapy. It's just great. It sounds goofy.
It sounds goofy, but it's actually really wonderful if you've
true.
ever done it.
It's so effective. We went on a retreat and we did a bunch of different therapies on that retreat, but the one that stuck out on my mind was a primal scream, because what you do is you lay in a dark room and you have your whole group of people and you just do primal screaming. And what he asked us, our leader asked us what are you screaming about? And my scream was, I am unworthy. And that was a deep, deep belief that I held in my body. That was so deep, I didn't even know I had it intellectually. But when we started doing primal scream and I could just feel that come out of my body, I'm not worthy. And that was part of the reason why I kept choosing partners that treated me disrespectfully, because I didn't think I was worthy of having the love that I wanted so desperately. So that was a really great therapy. It was highly successful. And then with one of my groups of friends, after we'd had a couple of glasses of wine, I said, you guys want to do primal scream therapy? And so we screamed, and one of the ladies of the house we were in, her husband came and went, what are you guys doing? We said, you want to join us? Because you probably have a few things you could scream about too.
Yeah.
So that was one thing. I mean, do you want to talk about EMDR? That's another.
Yeah, EMDR is it's a kind of a therapy that if you've had PTSD or traumatic events, I had some traumatic events when I was young with my father, going on a hunting trip, and some negative things happened as I was a little child, and it just really formed a lot of my safety issues, and my self-worth and all that. And so doing therapy, of course, I did therapy around it, but it wasn't really until I did EMDR, rapid eye movement therapy, that I was able to release that and actually collapse a lot of the negative associations with what went on. And it actually transformed a lot of my emotions, and really took me to a great place. It was just unbelievable for me. Now, everybody needs something different. EMDR is a very powerful tool. It's not always appropriate for everything, but it is definitely, if you have trauma, you might want to take a look at that. There's other things like tapping. I don't know if you've heard about tapping. That's a very powerful tool that you can use ongoing when you have negative emotions coming up. And
that's one you can use on yourself.
Yeah, you can do that on yourself.
So look up tapping, because that's really cool. You can use it if you feel yourself hijacked. You can use it on yourself, and it works.
Yeah, it's pretty fabulous. There's toning. Why don't you talk about toning? Toning is really cool.
It's an interesting therapy. It's not really well known, but when I was in spiritual boot camp, one of the ladies, she had a very, very horrible divorce. And what it did to her was it made her extremely physically sick, and she couldn't get out of it. And so she was actually a nurse, and she studied about what she could do energetically to release that horrible negativity that was kind of hanging on her. And that's interesting, because everybody gets in a group and we do specific tones. Kind of like when if people do chanting, it's similar to that kind of a thing, where a group tones, chants, and it has a tendency to also release a lot of negative energy that sits in your body. Because, like, for myself personally, I don't always register things mentally. Because, like, when I was a young woman, I knew I was upset when I would have a late period. I mean, that's what it took for me, because I did not register mentally that I was stressed and upset, and I'd miss my period, and I go, oh, I must really be stressed out.
You were the queen of denial.
Queen of denial, like that. Wow.
Yeah. So it's just, we're just talking about a lot of different things. One of the sayings is, the teacher will show up when the student is ready.
Yes.
And so as you go through, looking at different issues that you may have, that if you've had failed relationships like we did, I mean, we had relationships that were like ended in dumpster fires and a train wreck after a nuclear plume.
Yeah.
And you just go, oh, I'm just not the right person. What's wrong with me? Why am I not lovable?
Right.
And if anybody's felt like that, which many of us have, whether it's coming out of a relationship or even in our childhood, those things really affect your current relationships and the relationships that you take into the future with your new spouse, your new lover, even your new date. And so by being able to work through these things, you become more authentic. It's like peeling the different layers of onion. Whether you're a male or female, it's important to do that, get to the root, and to be able to take a look at it, move the energy through, and transform those negative emotions into things that you can actually work with, where it becomes a positive. You find the positive things that it gave you, and sometimes you can't read a book about it. You can't do it on your own. You intellectually can't figure it out. You need help, you need groups. Whatever you need, when you seek it out, will appear and will help you move through it. So there's like energy work, hands-on healings. We talked about primal scream, massage. There are some massage therapists. Talk about this. This was really powerful for us.
Yeah, we both went. Before we got married, we went to some massage therapists that were just like off the charts. And what they did, and especially for me, and I only had 3 sessions, and I had chronic neck pain and back pain, which I thought I was just going to live with forever. And with that massage, every time she would massage a portion of my body, she would say, "We are releasing this." And I could feel it. And I would cry and sob and sob and sob and sob. And she would move to the next part of my body and massage that and go, "And we are releasing this." And after 3 sessions, all my pain went away. And so it was like not only just the emotional pain and the release, it was also the physical pain. And the thing about it that what Wayne and I might want to make really clear to you guys is that it's never ending. That when you find your life mate, and like coaching, we both are in coaching. We've been in coaching all of our lives, all of our married life, all of our life before we got married. And so it's coaching is really important because what happens to you is you just don't see it. You're too close to it. And when you have somebody look at it from the outside, and especially if they have a lot of wisdom and experience in the area that you need the coaching in, then they can help you see it and also direct you to something that would possibly work for you. Like I just had a coach say to me to try vibroacoustical therapy. And this, look that up. It's called VAT. And that has been a very powerful thing for me too, because it's also another way to release stuck energy that's in your body. And after those sessions, it has been remarkable.
There's just a lot of different things you can do. Another one that is really good that I've really enjoyed is hypnotherapy.
Yeah.
I haven't done it lately, but I think I probably would. It's pretty cool. But with hypnotherapy, a lot of times you're able to work through things. Your hypnotherapist can take you to a safe place, and then you can do a lot of work, especially like because I had childhood issues with my father, basically, and that would manifest in the relationships in negative ways until I was able to really kind of confront things in a safe environment through hypnotherapy and then, reclaim more of my self-esteem and reduce my poor strategies. We have a saying is like poor self-esteem creates bad strategies. And if you really think about that, you really want to get to a place where you really feel good about yourself, you're confident about who you are, that you're a good person, even if you've made past mistakes. Finding that ability to forgive and to transmute that negative energy into positive energy into your new relationships. Show up authentically. You go out on a date. You're who you are, and you're proud of who you are. You're happy with who you are. You're satisfied with who you are, and that shows through, and that attracts another healthier person to you, because what you're really looking for is what we call a glib. You're looking for a partner that will grow, learn, invest, and build with you. So they have to be at some level willing to do the personal homework to be able to own, the not so wonderful parts of their past, of their present. When things flare up and they get hijacked or whatever, and you're both in a relationship, they know and where that issue is coming from. Is it something from their past that they're dragging forward? And you don't have to own it. And by having good self-esteem, by doing a lot of this work, you can go, whoa, let's talk about it. I know you may be hurting in that, and so let's talk about it, because I really value you and I know you're hurting, and we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Up to 14 times. Freddie's limit is I listen 14 times, and then she's got to go get therapy or go to her girlfriend's.
Yeah, I got to go talk to somebody else after I bitched about it 14 times. So anyway, that's kind of that's Wayne's rule. I could talk about it 20 or 30 times, but that's
or 40.
His rule. Yeah. Finally, he just said after 30 years, no. Yeah.
And well, one of the great things too, and I would suggest this for all you ladies out there, when you're with your man, is let him know that you just need to talk, and that is, you're just trying to work through it, and it's not his place unless you ask for advice to solve it for you. as a man, Freddie had to explain that
Yeah,
to me,
right.
and it really, really helped me out. It was part of laying down some boundaries. And that's the other thing that's so great about doing a lot of these different therapies and practices is you develop really good, healthy boundaries where you can talk about it. And, you know, that's super
Yeah.
important in a relationship. It brings you closer.
Okay, so release those negative emotions, release the demons, and you will find out that you'll be releasing them for the rest of your life. But at least if you have a partner who's willing to grow, learn, invest, and build with you, that you can get to bliss like Wayne and I have.
Yeah.